Imagine cycling through a landscape so breathtaking that photographers burn through camera batteries trying to capture every moment. That's exactly what we're exploring today on the Carretera Austral, where an 85-kilometer journey becomes a masterclass in human endurance and natural wonder.
The way this particular route unfolds is fascinating, starting in this tiny village of Villa Mañihuales and building up to one of the most significant stops along the entire highway. What gets me is how perfectly orchestrated the challenges seem to be.
That's exactly what makes this stretch so special. The first 40 kilometers are like a gentle warm-up, mostly flat terrain with just enough small climbs to get your blood pumping. It's almost like the road is preparing you for what's coming.
Hmm. Speaking of what's coming, let's talk about that climb to Cerro Rosado. 5 straight kilometers of uphill cycling? That's gotta be intense.
Well, here's what's fascinating about that climb. Local cycling guides report that this is where about 30% of riders have to dismount and walk at least part of the way. But what comes next is pure magic. You get this incredible descent into the Simpson River Valley that cyclists consistently rate as one of the top 3 moments of their entire journey.
The contrasts on this route are really something else. You've got these intense physical challenges followed by these moments of pure natural beauty. The Reserva Nacional Rio Simpson section, with those waterfalls cascading down the cliff faces, it must be spectacular.
According to regional tourism data, that section of the reserve sees more photographs taken per kilometer than any other stretch of the Carretera Austral. And get this, they've actually had to install additional pull-off points because so many cyclists were stopping in potentially dangerous spots to capture the perfect shot.
That's exactly what I was wondering about. How do you balance experiencing the moment versus documenting it? Especially when you're trying to make good time on an 85-kilometer ride.
Well, speaking of timing, most cyclists report taking about 7 to 8 hours to complete this section, with an average of 90 minutes spent on photo stops alone. But here's what's really interesting. The approach to Coyhaique marks this dramatic transition from wilderness to civilization.
You know what fascinates me about Coyhaique? It's this perfect intermission point in the journey. How do cyclists typically handle that sudden shift from basic camping to having all these modern amenities at their fingertips?
According to surveys from local hostels, about 65% of long-distance cyclists actually report having trouble sleeping their first night in a proper bed. Their bodies have become so accustomed to sleeping bags and camping pads. But the maintenance aspect is crucial. Bike shops in Coyhaique report servicing an average of 15 touring bikes per day during peak season.
The logistics of maintaining a bike on a journey like this must be incredibly important, especially considering what lies ahead south of Coyhaique.
Oh, absolutely. And here's a sobering statistic. Nearly 40% of all major mechanical issues on the Carretera Austral occur in the southern sections. That's why that preventive maintenance stop is so critical. They check everything from brake pad wear to spoke tension. It's basically a full physical for your bike.
The relationship between cyclist and machine on these journeys must become almost spiritual. You're completely dependent on this mechanical companion for your safety and progress.
You know what's interesting? Local mechanics report that experienced touring cyclists can often identify potential issues just by subtle changes in how their bike sounds or feels. It's like they develop this sixth sense about their equipment.
So what happens after Coyhaique? The terrain gets even more challenging, doesn't it?
Well, the data shows that the southern sections have about 60% more elevation change per kilometer, and weather stations report twice as many severe weather days compared to the northern sections. That's why Coyhaique isn't just a rest stop. It's a crucial preparation point.
The whole journey sounds like this perfect balance of challenge and reward, doesn't it? From that brutal climb up Cerro Rosado to the spectacular descent, from the remote beauty of the Simpson River Valley to the welcoming lights of Coyhaique.
And that's what makes this section so emblematic of the entire Carretera Austral experience. According to adventure tourism studies, it's this combination of physical challenge, natural beauty, and strategic rest points that makes certain routes become legendary. This particular stretch hits all those marks perfectly.
Looking ahead to those southern sections, what should cyclists be watching for?
Well, the statistics tell an interesting story. While the southern sections are more challenging, They also have the highest satisfaction ratings among cyclists who complete them. It's like the increased difficulty actually adds to the sense of achievement. But that's a story for another day, when we tackle the next leg of this incredible journey.